So I'm here to present Affin Group's house view on the economy for 2025. We're looking at Malaysia being an all-exporting country with the elevated price of oil at $75 per barrel. There will be good income stream for the country. CPO will remain to be elevated at 4,275 ringgit per metric ton. So that was also a good earning stream for the country. And if you are looking at the major sectors to be overweight in, we are positive on the technology sector, construction given all the infrastructure projects, banking of course, given the lower interest rate environment that we will foresee happening in 2025, utility sector, and also property, given all the activity in Johor and also here in the Klang Valley. The ringgit, we are very bullish on the ringgit. We see ringgit ending the year at 410 of next year. Today the ringgit is hovering about 4.4 to the dollar. We still got about less than a month to go, but we expect one rate cut to happen on the 18th of December. So thereabouts about 4.2 to end 2024. In terms of the stock market, we're also bullish on the stock market. We see 1850 to be the year-end index for next year. This year will end about 1650. So that's a 12% increase in the value of the KLCC. And we one of the better performing stock markets in the region, outperforming the Japan MSCI ex-Japan. Okay, so year to date, next slide please. Yeah, ringgit has been the best performing currency in the region. We improved 5% year to date amongst the other ASEAN regional peers, and we see this trend also to continue into 2025. The key buzzwords for next year here I put up on the slides are basically inflation and unemployment. So these are two things that the central banks in the world have to balance out. If I go into my slides next. So we look at inflation in the US. So inflation in the US has moderated to a level of 2.6%. I think this is a band that is tolerable for the Fed. So now the Fed will start shifting their focus on unemployment. So if you look at the US unemployment today, it's hovering in the low fours. Yeah? I think 4.2% was the latest number in November. And you see it's been on a slow but steady uptick. So this is quite concerning. Potentially could be a slowdown in the US economy. Obviously, the Fed would try to avert that, and that would be where countermeasures will come in. Inflation is hovering about 1.9%, manageable and steady. Given the subsidy effect for next year, I think we do see a slight spike, but within the tolerable band of 3%, sub 3%. National unemployment also at a very low level. We will see the Bank Negara maintain their OPR level at the 3% level throughout the rest of next year. So what we are starting to see, I think, before us is the next slide. The stars are beginning to align for Malaysia.
That's a good word.
So not often you see the stars align for Malaysia. This is a sign. Our stable political environment, our strong FDI flows, our data center boom. Seeing that happening in Johor and potentially other parts of the Klang Valley. So Malaysia next. Yes. So Malaysia GDP, we see a stronger GDP growth compared to this year, 5.2%. And people are asking, people come and see us investors and they say, Malaysia is getting all right. And in that sense, if you look at the fiscal deficit, we expect a narrowing of fiscal deficit for 2024 to 4.2%, and next year with the rationalization of the subsidies to narrow down to 3.2% in terms of fiscal deficit. So this is something amazing that's being done by the government, and this will spur Malaysia's growth forward into 2025 and beyond. Okay, why are the stars aligning? This is why we see a moderate and progressive rate cut by the Fed. This is the Fed curve from its high of maybe 5.5%, and it's going to come down throughout 2025 and almost cross where the Bank Negara OPR rate is, and this would bring a lot of the funding into equilibrium, where foreign investment can choose between investing in the US economy or in the Malaysian economy, and this would be a good magnet of attraction for Malaysian investment. If we look at the FDI flows, in the first half of this year, we've seen a 20% increase in FDI flows, over 150 billion of funds flowing into the country, both foreign and including the domestic direct investment. So we'll see more of this happening going into 2025 and also into 2026. Okay, a bit about Trump and what to watch out for. Similar to Anand's slides, it's going to be tariff everywhere. So we see the rest of the world being tariffed at 20%. We see China and Mexico being having the main brunt of the tariffs. China at 60% and Mexico at 200% tariff. In terms of interest rate policies, Trump being a businessman, he dislikes high interest rates environment. So he will look to replace or demote Jerome Powell as the Fed chairman to encourage a lowering of the interest rates. That's going to be a task in itself. So we will see what will happen, but we will see. I think the Fed come under a lot of pressure to reduce interest rates given Trump in power. Trump will be hard in terms of migrants. He wants to give more jobs to the Americans. We will see also America exit the climate accord agreements, and we'll see also increased spending in the US due to cut in income tax rates from 21% to 15%. Lower tax rates in the US. So the key risk to 2025 is the geopolitical conflicts in Europe, Russian-Ukraine war, whether that continues or whether it can be come to resolution by Trump. The Middle East war as well with Israel, and Trump's uncertainty in terms of his government policies. He is a guy who always springs shocks to the market. Potentially, we see Europe slowing down, so there will be a global economic slowdown of demand for trade, and so we are on the right path. But any misstep in terms of our government policies will pose a risk to us, affecting our economic growth in 2025. Next slide. So what this means, I think when you have two elephants fighting, it's the grass that suffers. But we want to try and make sure that the grass can still grow, even though the elephants fight. So with that, we see a lot of trade flows intra-ASEAN, whether ASEAN to China or ASEAN to the US, and we see that picking up. The main sectors that will benefit will be the electrical and electronics sector. Next, other sectors that will benefit under Trump's policies will be the plantation sector, more demand for CPO and palm oil products from this part of the world due to the shortage supply of vegetable oil. The increased tariffs on China will mean rubber gloves industry in Malaysia. So next slide. Yeah, so increased tariffs on China will mean the rubber gloves industry also will have benefit from Trump's policies. And my last slide, technology and semiconductor industry here in Malaysia. This will benefit also from Trump's policies as in greater number of exports to the US. And given the need for energy, so the oil and gas sector also will, you saw the prices being elevated at $75 per barrel. The oil and gas sector also will benefit, and we are a net exporter of oil and gas. So those are what I'd like to highlight in my presentation slides. Maybe I think we'll go off to the next part of the session. Thank you.